Anderson Silva's cocky clowning. Anderson Silva wasn't just a UFC champion, he was a walking highlight reel. A kung fu movie wrapped in a Brazilian middleweight. For nearly a decade, Silva made top contenders look like weekend warriors. His reflexes, inhuman. His confidence, sky high. But that confidence turned into cockiness. And against Chris Weidman, a guy few believed had any chance, Silva decided to put on a show. He dropped his hands, wobbled his head side to side, dared Weidman to swing. And Weidman did. Left hook, bang. Silva hit the mat with his eyes wide open like he'd seen a ghost. That ghost, it was karma. The moment wasn't just a loss, it was the perfect storm of arrogance meeting reality. It reminded every fighter and fan, this sport doesn't care about your highlight reel, only your hands up. Anderson clowned once too many times, and the universe finally clapped back. Michael Bisping versus Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold was young, handsome, and lethal. He had already choked out Bisping once, and didn't let him forget it. In the build-up to their rematch, Rockhold laughed him off. He called Bisping delusional, said he had no chance, and acted like he was giving a peasant a shot at the crown. What Rockhold didn't know was that the peasant had everything to gain and nothing to lose. Bisping came in on short notice. No full camp, no excuses, just pure grit. He closed the distance and landed a brutal counter left hook that dropped Rockhold like a sack of rocks. The world went silent, then exploded. The underdog, the loudmouth Brit, the guy who'd been counted out for a decade, was now champion. And in true Bisping fashion, he let Rockhold have it on the mic. Loud, passionate, raw. The best part, karma didn't just show up. It waited until the most humiliating possible moment to arrive. And it brought a championship belt with it. Ronda Rousey, from invincible queen to head kick humble. Ronda Rousey walked into the UFC like a wrecking ball with an armbar. She was the first true superstar of women's MMA. A finisher, a phenom, a fighter with aura. But with dominance came disdain. Ronda became colder, ruder. She trashed opponents, snubbed handshakes, called herself unbeatable, not just by other women, but by men too. Then came Holly Holm, calm, respectful, focused, and when the bell rang, Holm put on a masterclass in range, footwork, and patience. Then came that head kick. It didn't just knock Rousey out, it rebooted her. She went silent for months. No interviews, no press, no UFC. The world that once knelt at her feet had turned. It was karma in the most public way possible. The bully got bullied by a humble warrior who let her fists do the talking. Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman. Colby Covington might be the most polarizing fighter in UFC history. He insulted countries, cultures, fighters' families, even Kamaru Usman's father who had been in prison. It wasn't just hype, it was disrespect on a global level. But when the cage door closed, the trash talk had no place to hide. Usman fought fire with fire. He stood toe-to-toe with Colby and traded bombs for nearly 5 rounds. And then, in the final minute, Usman broke Covington's jaw, literally, and dropped him twice before finishing the fight. The poetic part, Colby ran out of the cage. No press conference, no post-fight interview. The man who never shut up was silenced. It wasn't just a TKO. It was karma showing up wearing Nigerian colors and reminding everyone, talk all you want, but back it up or get broken. Jorge Masvidal versus Ben Askren. Ben Askren was undefeated, a wrestling wizard, but more than anything he was loud. He mocked Jorge Masvidal relentlessly, said he was overhyped, said he'd make it look easy. Jorge Masvidal though, he didn't speak much, but his silence was dangerous, calculated. Days before the fight, Horde even practiced flying knees during open workouts. Some thought it was trolling. Turns out, it was prophecy. 5 seconds in, Askren ducks, and Masvidal launches into the most iconic flying knee in UFC history. One and done. No follow-ups needed. The internet broke. Askren's unbeaten record, gone. His hype, deleted. And Masvidal? He made the KO even worse by mocking him while he was unconscious. Hands behind the back, tapping the canvas like, "You good, bro?" Ben sold the fight with words. Jorge ended it with a knee, and the universe balanced itself in one brutal moment. Sean Strickland, the mouthpiece meets the hammer. Sean Strickland is the embodiment of say whatever comes to mind. No script, no filter. Whether he's sparring in the gym or giving interviews, his mouth runs at 100 miles per hour. So when he fought Alex Pereira, a literal gladiator from kickboxing hell, he ran that same mouth. mocked Alex's experience, said he'd walk him down, promised an easy night. And then he stood in front of Pereira like a heavy bag. Alex, stoic as ever, waited and boom, that signature left hook. Strickland dropped like a rag doll, clean, surgical, merciless. The beauty? He lost exactly how he said he wouldn't. Kama let him narrate his own downfall and then delivered on schedule. Jon Jones and the eye poke Kama. Jon Jones is an all-time great, no denying it. But even fans can't ignore the, let's say, liberal use of the extended fingers. Opponents constantly complained of eye pokes, some called it dirty, others called it strategic. But it caught up to him, not through fouls, but through fairness. Against Dominic Reyes, Jones couldn't poke his way to dominance. Reyes brought the pressure, landed clean. And for the first time in forever, fans questioned a Jones win. Many believed Reyes was robbed. Jones left bloodied, bruised, and exposed. It wasn't a KO. It wasn't a tap. But it was a crack in the armor. Karma didn't come as a punch. It came as a reminder. Even kings eventually bleed. Fabricio Verdum mocks a coach and gets flattened. After beating Travis Brown, Fabricio Verdum did something hilarious and petty. He mocked Edmond Taverdian, Brown's infamous coach, by mimicking his frantic corner shouts. No, head movement, head movement. The crowd loved it. The memes were instant. It was comedy gold. But Karma doesn't laugh for long. In Verdum's next fight, he got clipped by Alistair Overeem. Dropped hard, the lights dimmed, and so did the smugness. The guy who mocked corner advice found himself unconscious before he could even ask for his own. That's Karma, savage, direct, and unbothered by past performances. Chael Sonnen, the promo king who always tapped. Chael Sonnen made trash talk an art form. He roasted Anderson Silva's accent. He made Brazil his personal punching bag. He hyped himself as the undefeated, undisputed best, even when he wasn't. And then came the fights. Anderson Silva tapped him in the final round. Jon Jones grounded and pounded him like a drum. Rashad Evans dominated. Tito Ortiz, even Tito submitted him. Chael took the biggest game in the sport. But when the lights hit, the tap-outs piled up. Karma didn't strike once. It ran on a subscription model for Sonnen. But to his credit, he always came back for more. Greg Hardy, the villain with no redemption arc. Greg Hardy's arrival in the UFC came with controversy. A former NFL player with a history of domestic violence allegations, the fans were split. Some wanted to see if he could fight, others wanted to see him fall. And fall he did. Against Bam Bam, Hardy came out aggressive. He swung heavy, landed a few, but Tai stood calm, waited, then delivered a short, brutal right that shut Hardy down instantly. Hardy crumbled. The crowd erupted. Tai celebrated with his signature Shu E while Hardy faded from the UFC spotlight. The message was clear. In this sport, your past catches up to you. And when it does, it wears 4-ounce gloves. Some say Karma's slow. In MMA, it shows up fast with flying knees, head kicks, and shattered jaws. If you love this list of poetic justice in the cage, hit that like button, or Karma might just make you spar with Alex Pereira blindfolded.